I'm Ana Moreno, analyst at Valuation. Today I'm going to explain the investment thesis of Tobii Dynavox, a company that, as of the date of recording of this video, is in the Valuation portfolio. It's important to highlight that we're sharing this thesis with the sole purpose of giving our clients more insights in the companies in which we are invested, but it's not an investment recommendation. So, what is Tobii Dynavox? Tobii Dynavox is a niche medical technology company focused on augmentative and alternative communication. Their devices give voice to people who, for different reasons, cannot communicate by themselves. We're talking about devices for people with cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis, autism, and many other harsh health conditions. They are medically graded devices by the FDA in the US and by the MDR in Europe, as well as by other agencies and other geographies. The US is their main market, but they have presence in many other geographies, and Tobii Dynavox is the market leader, being twice the size of the second competitor. So, a brief history before we start to explain the in-depth investment thesis. Tobii was founded in 2001 by three Swedish entrepreneurs. They began selling eye tracking technology for gaze analysis to provide insight in human visual behavior in areas such as psychology, athletics, and market research. But it was not until the summer of 2003 when they began applying this eye tracking technology to assistive communication. In 2014, Tobii acquired Dynavox, a US company that was at the moment the second largest competitor and was a reference in communication aid devices with dynamic touchscreens. In 2021, Tobii AV was split in two through the Tobii Dynavox spin-off. The parent company was left with Tobii Tech and Tobii Pro, and Tobii Dynavox went public on its own in December 2021. The rationale for this spin-off is that at the end of the day, Tobii Dynavox was and is a medical technology company that had no synergies with the other two divisions. They have acquired new technologies and distributors since 2021, and they have recently updated their financial targets. So, regarding valuation, big picture here before we start digging it more deeper, Tobii Dynavox multiples are more demanding than those of other companies in our portfolio. But these multiples are justified by a strong sustainable growth over the long term, it's a niche medical technology company in an underpenetrated market, and the operating leverage is yet to be exploited. Here you can see the multiples according to our estimates that we will discuss in further detail in the next slides. So, first we're going to start with the history of Tobii Dynavox. Here you have the main events, like the Dynavox acquisition in 2014, as well as the relevant product launches. But we are going to explain the two histories in parallel. First, we start with Dynavox. Dynavox was formed in 1983 when a graduate student in an American university met a woman with cerebral palsy that could not communicate verbally. Well, with the help of a professor and the support of an entrepreneur, they formed sentient system technology and began producing a device that was an eye typer. They gave Americans with significant speech impairments the ability to communicate. Along the years, they improved the products, and in 1991, the first Dynavox branded product was launched. In 1983, the company introduced word and grammar prediction, which allowed faster writing to these individuals. In 2001, now we are going to Tobii history. Three Swedish entrepreneurs, John, Martin, and Henrik, founded Tobii. Their vision, as I mentioned, was to transform how we interact with computers through our eyes. They began selling a tracking technology for gaze analysis to provide insights to different markets, but it was not until 2003 when they met Dr. Donegan, an assistive technology specialist, during a technology demo. Dr. Donegan saw that beyond gaze analysis, eye tracking computers could be used for gaze control to benefit people with conditions that cause profound physical and verbal limitations. Tobii sent Donegan a simple demo application to validate the technology's potential in this kind of market. Going back to Dynavox history, in 1998, Sunrise Medical and Sentient System merged to become Dynavox Systems. And around that time, the typical customer had evolved from school-aged children with congenital physical conditions to include adult survivors of head injuries, strokes, and other accidents that left them without functional speech. The year 2000 is a milestone year in our history of this company. Dynavox led a lobbying effort resulting in Medicare coverage for communication aids, a milestone that could prove beneficial for thousands of people. Through the 2000s, Dynavox continued to set new industry standards for portable communication aids, including the launch of IMAX, a device that individuals could access through their eyes movements. In 2014, as we have mentioned earlier, Dynavox was acquired by Tobii Technology. Going back to Tobii, Dr. Donegan began working with a Tobii programmer to create the interface for a case control system. Their effort resulted in the launch of my Tobii D10, the first desktop eye case communication aid, and a tablet version soon followed. With the launch of the first eye case system, they began to expand internationally. They opened an office in the US, another in Germany, China, and also Japan. In 2008, they acquired Assistive Technology Inc., that was founded in 1983 by physicians at the Boston Children's Hospital, who developed tools to help children with disabilities. And again, as we've mentioned, in 2014, acquisition of Dynavox, the main competitor. In 2014, the acquisition of Dynavox by Tobii Technology brought together two companies dedicated to improving the quality of life for people with communication and mobility impairments. By then, Tobii had established itself as the leading provider of eye tracking devices for communication and computer access for people with conditions such as ALS, Rett syndrome, spinal cord injury, and cerebral palsy. And at the same time, Dynavox was the leading source of communication aids for speech, language, and learning disabilities related to autism, aphasia, cerebral palsy, and other neurological disorders. In recent history, 2020 and 2021, the COVID years, the company has suffered due to several reasons. The main reason was the high components cost. They don't manufacture their products, they order the components from third-party manufacturers, and this was in conjunction with a high demand for some products that caused temporary delays in the deliveries because they could not get the components to assemble the device and give it to the customer. That included also high freight costs that decreased margins, and that the impossibility to have physical meetings. For Tobii Dynavox user groups, it's very important to have physical meetings. We're talking of user groups that need special help to understand how to use the device, and also regarding any kind of issue that you could have during the use of it. So these were the main things that impacted the company's performance along these years. But they also were good events during those years. They acquired a Capella Group, that is a synthetic voices company, and Safecare Technologies, and Iris distributor. In 2022 and 2023, the growth came back once supply chain issues diminished. They had a strong growth along both years in the last 8 quarters, and we have seen and understand that this was not driven by pent-up demand. This is a structural demand in a very unpenetrated market that we see later. They have gradually recovered margins that were depressed due to the high cost and high freight cost. They have also acquired another distributor in Denmark that is named ASK, and also more recently they have acquired Vihadat, that is the leader in mounting solutions. In 2014, this years, we have seen that full year results of 2023 have been above consensus, and they have released new financial targets. So, talking about the sector, this is a very important slide that they provide in their presentations. Okay, here. Currently, only a small portion of people who need assistive technology to communicate live in a part of the world where society and healthcare systems can provide and reinsure them for the solutions they need. In terms of global prevalence, around 200 million people have speech impairments, and about 50 million people have a speech impairment so severe that they need a communication device to be able to communicate by themselves. In terms of incidence, more than 2 million people are diagnosed each year with conditions requiring advanced assistive technology, but only 2% of those, around 50,000 people, will have access to this type of technology. The current level of low penetration means that there's good potential for long-term growth in this market. Here we have shared also another slide where we can see the sizes of the assistive technology market. We see that mobility aids, hearing aids, vision aid, they have good sizes. But in the contrary, we see here communication aids, the market of Tobii Dynavox, with a very small size. But here is the point. I think that communicating is as important or much more important than mobility. So this market needs to grow to allow these people to express themselves and share their knowledge. Regarding competitors, we have said earlier that Dynavox was the second largest competitor once the two companies merged. The second largest competitor is PRC Saltillo, that is also an American company. The combined market share of PRC and Tobii Dynavox is about 50% of the augmentative and alternative communication market. But in eye tracking devices alone, Tobii Dynavox market share is more than 70%. So is the clear leader. The rest of the market is very fragmented with local competitors offering a mix of full service and just software applications. Companies in this sector need not only the highest quality products, but also a support team for users and prescribers, as we have explained earlier. Here we have another picture of the sector. We have no-tech aids, gestures by language, low-tech, there are more analog tools, and high-tech, where Tobii is the market leader with digital tools, tablets, either controlled by touch or by eye gaze. But as we have said, in eye gaze, Tobii Dynavox has more than 70% market share. Okay, regarding the user groups, it's important to understand who are the users of these devices. We have three types of users according to their diagnosis. The first user group is congenital diagnosis. These are individuals born with communication difficulties characterized by speech, language, and literacy difficulties. We are talking about health conditions like cerebral palsy, autism, or other intellectual disabilities. Then we have progressive diagnosis users. These diseases give gradual impairment over time that can occur over many years or shorter periods of time. We are talking about ALS, multiple sclerosis, or Parkinson's disease. And then the last user groups is the groups that suffer from aphasia, usually a consequence of a stroke or a traumatic brain injury affecting the production of or comprehension of speech and the ability to read and write. Okay, as I've mentioned, public funding is key in this market. Communication-assisted technology represents a very small proportion of total healthcare budgets. So reinforcement in this area is not necessarily related to overall healthcare budget, which is an advantage. In addition, there is a general trend in many parts of the world to gradually strengthen the opportunities for people with these special needs. Two important factors to take into account in the reimbursement process is the ability to sell the communication-assisted technology devices. The reimbursement depends on the country and the system that the country has. There are countries that have a centralized system, making it easier because they have uniform requirements and standardized requirements, like Norway is the country with the most robust reimbursement structure and is characterized by a national decision-making reimbursement body. But on the other hand, we have countries with decentralized reimbursement systems. This means, for example, in the US, that each state is like a separate country. Each state has its own requirements and regulatory reimbursement system, so it's more difficult to sell the products on the decentralized system. Although, as we have said, the United States, although the reimbursement system is very complex, is the main market for Tobii Dynavox, because this market has been deployed through several years. And as we have mentioned, Dynavox lobbied in the 2000s to acquire reimbursement for these devices. Okay. Here we have another picture regarding the different reimbursement systems. As we have mentioned, the US, it has national and regional reimbursement system. It's a decentralized system. It has also coverage by private insurers. But it's a very complex market, although it's strongly developed, and the biggest market for Tobii Dynavox, Norway, the best reimbursement system in the world for this type of technology. Sweden also has a very strong reimbursement system, and Germany. Here we are going to see the per capita expenditure on assistive technology. Again, we see the Norway, that is the country that is spending more per capita, the US, and our country, Spain, is here at the bottom with others. So the challenge of this industry and this company is the lack of awareness. Among industry professionals, such as speech-language pathologists, speech doctors, and other prescribers, awareness is very low. This has to improve through a good sales force, like the Tobii has. The sales force is actively building its network of professionals, prescriber, and broadest group of professionals in the field of assistive communication technology. The main objective is to spread awareness and knowledge about these devices among professionals. Tobii also has a training organization. They have a department of speech therapists and physicians with extensive experience in communication and assistive technology. The training organization develops and delivers face-to-face and online courses. And the main objective is to help users, family members, and professionals to learn more about communication assistive technology and available solutions. And also, Tobii Dynavox provides testing tools. They are often asked by prescribers to participate in sessions with their patients to set up the communication devices and demonstrate the functionality to the potential users. Here, we can see that in the United States, as an example, there are about 200,000 prescribers in the US, the largest market, but only 5 to 10% work with assisted communication, and 5 of those that work with assisted communication prescribe and write several prescriptions a year. So Tobii Dynavox's fight is to increase awareness and education among prescribers around this technology. Also, we're going to see later, Tobii Dynavox helps prescribers by speeding up the financing process through public and private systems. We're going to see the whole offering now. Tobii Dynavox, the offering is not just hardware. They have a broad offering, a language system. We're going to see that is the broadest in the world and the largest library of symbols in the world. They have software, the hardware, the devices by themselves, the funding support, and the support to users. So, beginning with the language system, Tobii Dynavox owns and has continuously developed the world's largest library of symbols, known as Picture Communication Symbols, PCS. Tobii Dynavox uses PCS in several software applications, but it's also used by other vendors like Microsoft, which pays royalties to Tobii Dynavox, and as an example, it's also used by Google and by their main competitor, PCR Sartillo, needs the symbols to give service to their users. So most Tobii Dynavox users with congenital diagnosis do not know how to read when they first use a communication aid device. A consequence of this situation is that it's necessary to develop the user's language, and they start usually with a small number of symbols, 10 to 20 symbols at an early age, and develops over time to include more than 10,000 symbols. Users also learn to group symbols in the most appropriate way for their language. If we go to the software offering, at the core of all Tobii Dynavox communication support technology are several advanced software applications offered by the company. The software is categorized in 4 categories. according to the diagnosis targeted. We have TD Snap, that is for users with congenital diagnoses, TD Communicator 5 and TD Control, that is for users with progressive diagnosis, and Board Maker. So with TD Snap, it's assistive technology software, primarily for people with congenital diagnosis. It is aimed at those who have been unable or not learned to speak and write. It's based in a language system that is called Core First, that is built around a small set of base words that are frequently used in communication, and is good for a first introduction to learn how to communicate, and hopefully someday to reach full communication ability, including literacy. A typical user starts with a few words and then learns to navigate through thousands of symbols. Then we have TD Communicator 5 for users with progressive diagnosis. This software converts text and symbols into a clear voice with different voice options for a more natural communication. The software is aimed at adult users who already have advanced reading and writing skills before they start using it. TD Control is also a software for adult users with conditions such as cerebral palsy, ALS, and spinal cord injury, who cannot use their hand in folds independently to use the computer. The TD Control is to control the Windows environment and enable these adults to work in a natural way. And then we have Board Maker 7, that is the latest version of the special education software. The software supports learning communication, social and emotional needs in the classroom, clinic, or home. Along these softwares, we have different apps that we have here. I'm going to comment a few. For example, TD Talk is a voice-generated application for literate adults with communication disabilities such as ALS, multiple sclerosis, muscular dystrophy, and cerebral palsy. TD Browse is a custom-built app solution for navigating in the internet just with our eyes, as we navigate through, for example, Google Chrome with our mouse. With TD Browse, we can navigate through a browser with our eyes. TD Phone, a quick example is instead of using your phone with your fingertips, you're going to be able to use your phone with your eyes. Then we have Sensory Eye FX2. This software helps people for all ages to learn and improve eye access and communication skills through creative play and exploration. We have a SnapStream that is an effective in-the-moment learning. It allows to snap a picture and tag and do recordings so a child can communicate on the go. We have Case Viewer that has record data for many applications and saves the images to improve the cognitive abilities. And we have the Pathways applications, these two. There are free apps to improve the usage of the software, both for user groups, prescribers, and family members. If we go to hardware, the devices that are inside the blue box are medically graded devices. If we start with the TD series, it's a case-based speech generating device that incorporates the World Little Eye Tracking device, that is Tobii Dynavox eye tracking device. This is designed specifically for people with conditions such as cerebral palsy, Rett syndrome, ALS. Is a Windows-based device and is controlled entirely with your eyes to communicate and live independently. Then we have TD Pilot, that is an eye-controlled communication device that is based in iPad from Apple. Is designed to enable people with conditions, again, such as ALS, spinal cord injury, or cerebral palsy to communicate and use their favorite apps. And then we have PCI, that is the eye tracking device. You see here in TDI series at the bottom, here is the eye tracking integrated, as well as here in the TD Pilot. And this PCI is the device by itself, is the world's leading eye tracking device that can be integrated in a Windows computer to control your desktop computer with your eyes entirely. Then we have TDI 110, that is a durable touchscreen voice generator device for people with disorders such as autism. It's a very robust device, water resistant, built for users with active living. This means for children that can go to the park with their friends and communicate with this device while playing. And the SC tablet is also a durable but iPad-based communication device designated for people of all ages with communication difficulties. Here you can find the description of the hardware that we have just explained. And we go to the next slide, where we are going to talk about the funding support that Tobii Dynavox offers. Tobii Dynavox has extensive experience in assisting users in their investment process. It has a high quality support system that is often lacking from other providers. The reinvestment process is often complex, as we have seen, due to the decentralized system, like in North America. Tobii Dynavox has more than 500 agreements with insurance companies and the reimbursement agencies around the world, and works continuously to streamline and shorten the processes so that users can get their reimbursement on the time they need. The funding support team has more than 2,200 people who assist underwriters through the administrative process. And here in the green box, you can see that of the revenue of Tobii Dynavox, 60% is coming from public funding, 30% is coming from private insurance, and 10% is coming from private clients. This means out-of-pocket sales. Here, another picture of the funding support that Tobii Dynavox gives. They improve 20% with a faster funding cycle. They get a faster payment, 35% faster payment, and they appeal when they are rejected. When they ask for a reimbursement and this reimbursement is rejected, they appeal because they know that the user group is eligible for that device, and they have won many orders via appeals. The offering. We're going to talk now about the support to the user groups. Tobii Dynavox offers a complete solution that, in addition to a powerful software and advanced communication devices, also includes assistance in the reimbursement process and support in use. This is divided in three categories. We have the training organization, that is expertly led department that consists of speech-language pathologists, therapists, clinicians, and other developers with extensive experience. The training organization develops and delivers face-to-face and online courses. In-home training is also offered. The main objective is to help users, professionals, and family members to learn more about communication of assistive technology and better use their products. They also have the solution support that includes a range of resources and tools available to users and professionals in the field. The company has developed brochures and fact sheets, and also has a lot of material in their website. The pathways software that we have mentioned before to explain users how to better manage their devices and software. And of course, they have the customer service category, that is staff dedicated to work side by side with developers and physicians and answers any questions and solve any problems that Tobii users may have. The communication devices have a 24-month warranty from delivery, but it also can be extended from 1 to 3 years. And the company also offers a support function in which the sales teams help users or prescribers to reconfigure the remote communication device. Okay, if we talk about the geographical presence, as I've mentioned several times, North America is the largest region with 78% of sales, but they are growing in the other regions too. As public states, they began introducing reimbursement of these devices. All regions are growing currently, and for the past 8 quarters, all regions have grown. If we talk about the acquisitions, they have done two types of acquisitions: product acquisitions and distributors acquisitions. Regarding product acquisitions, we have mentioned before Acapella Group, that is a provider of synthetic voices, that was a distributor for Tobii. They have more than 30 years of experience. They are available in 30 languages. Acapella Group products are currently sold together with Tobii Dynavox assisted communication technology, as well as with other companies in the field. In 2023, last year, they acquired Rehadap, that is the premium provider of medically certified mounting solutions for assisted technology. The purchase price was 17.6 million euros plus an earnout of 3.5 million euros. We know that Rehadap revenue in 2022 was approximately 10 million euros with an EBIT margin of 20%. Regarding the distributors acquired, they have acquired Safeguard Technologies, the Irish distributor, with sales around 9 million SEK at an EBIT margin of 10%. And they have acquired ASK in Denmark with a purchase price of 5.2 million Danish krone. We can see here the value added with these acquisitions. They have increased dramatically the growth in the regions in which have acquired their distributors due to the administrative integration and the further penetration that they can now do in those countries. Okay, let's go to the financial analysis part, that is our theme. We have seen, as we have mentioned, that in 2020 and 2021, Tobii Dynavox suffered the pandemic due to the high freight cost, the component cost, and also the inability to conduct physical meetings. But late 2021 and early 2022, they have been able to recover. They have grown above 20% in the last 8 quarters. We remember here that 19% are direct sales and 10% are through partners. Gross margin have recovered to pre-COVID levels, around 68%. They have been investing in to drive awareness and growth. This is fundamental. As we have seen the low penetration in this market, we remember 50 million people with speech impairment that would need assistive technology device. Of those, 2 million just diagnosed, and only 2% of those 2 million really having the possibility to have one of the devices. So it's important not just for Tobii Dynavox, but for the industry and for the user groups to increase awareness. It's their duty to invest, to let the world know the technology that they have, that they can make life better for many individuals. The R&D investment has been around 11% of sales, and this has declined slightly a bit as a percentage of sales. The EBIT margin is below the target due to the investment in sales and marketing and all the cost that happened during COVID. But the EBIT margin target that they had, they already reached that baseline in the past, so it's a really achievable margin. Leverage is now under control, just around 2 times EBITDA in 2023. It's a capital light company. It's a capex light company, with capex being just around 8% of sales and working capital strictly managed around 10% of sales. Continuing our analysis, here we can see the quarterly revenue trend. As we have mentioned, in 2021 they suffered due to the supply chain issues and the inability to conduct physical meetings. Here you can see the EBIT margin going dramatically down. These costs were combined with the fact that being a standalone company also require higher costs that they're already implemented. But we can see here how along these 2 past years they have recovered growth. Again, it's a structural demand growth. They have grown above 20% in all these 8 quarters. And here we have seen the operational leverage picking up especially in Q2, Q3, and Q4, being closer to the 15% EBIT margin target that again we think is a reasonable baseline as they already reached that margin in the past. Continuing with the expenses, here we can see the selling expenses that increase in absolute terms, but they are more or less stable as a percentage of sales. They will continue to invest in sales and marketing, as we have mentioned, as they need to increase awareness among professionals for their products. We see the administrative expenses that are now more stabilized, R&D expenses that are declining as a percentage of sales, and we continue to decline a bit and then stabilize. And here we see the pickup in EBIT margin, that this line should go like this, because I think that they will achieve the margin target soon. Okay, so when the spin-off took place in December 2021, they released these financial targets. They say that were going to grow above 10%. They have grown above 20% in the last 8 quarters. They said that the profitability was going to be around 15%. This was not achieved due to the COVID problems that we have mentioned and the investment in sales, but we think that this target is going to be achieved really soon, and that has ample room to grow. The leverage is now, as I have mentioned, below the previous target, and at that time no dividend policy was in place, but this year they have updated the financial targets. This was a logical movement. As I have mentioned, they have grown above 20% in the last 8 quarters. So now they have said that they are going to continue to grow at 20% on average, and in the time horizon of 3 to 4 years, because they see the structural demand in the market, and they have found, as Fredrik said, the recipe to grow and to access prescribers and to give users their voice. The profitability, they say now they are going to reach and exceed the 15% EBIT margin target. They have already done this in the past, so it's a very reasonable and achievable target, although they need to continue to invest in the sales. And now they have put a new target that is a dividend policy of more than 40% that will be distributed in form of dividend or buybacks to shareholders. And the leverage target is now gone because, as we have said, they are pretty below the target, so that has been achieved quite well and close. Okay, so now going to our valuation, this is according to our estimates. You can see here how, according to our estimates, following the company guidelines, sales are going to grow at a 20% growth rate on average. And here you have the EBIT margin, according to our estimates, again, that is going to increase gradually due to the operational leverage. We're talking about a company with a 68% gross margin and a 15% EBIT margin target. There is a huge gap between a gross margin of 68% and an EBIT margin of 15%. So this means there is huge and ample room for operational leverage, with salespeople selling better and having more access to prescribers and users going forward. Here you can see the leverage, the net financial debt regarding EBITDA is now below 2 times, and we think it will continue to decline. They won't have net cash, as they think that having a bit of debt is more efficient. But when debt declines, we see the cash growing, achieving a free cash flow yield enterprise value, according to our estimates, of 7% in 2027. Regarding multiples, again, this is our estimates. We think that maybe at first sight, 2024 is a demanding valuation, but as long-term investors as we are, we can see that going forward, the multiples decline with the 20% growth that they are going to have. So we hear the evolution of PE and the EV/EBITDA. So it's up to you to think if this is demanding or not. This is just our estimates and our thoughts. So now, who is the management team that has led Tobii Dynavox during these amazing years? Here we have Fredrik Ruben, the CEO, and Linda Tybring, the CFO. We are going to release in a few days an interview with Fredrik. We have the opportunity to go to Stockholm to the capital market state and record an interview with him, just for you to know their view. That is much more important than our view, and also to be able for you to see how we ask questions and how we interact with the management. So Fredrik has been the CEO since 2014, because Tobii Dynavox, as I have explained, was like a separate business entity inside Tobii AB. Prior to joining Tobii, he has been CEO of other tech companies, and he's an engineer. Linda is the CFO. She has been the CFO since December 2018. She was previously CFO of Hermes and other medtech companies. Then, regarding regional leaders, we have Tara here, that is the president of North America. Tara has worked with Tobii since the beginning, because he was previously working in assistive technology, a company that Tobii bought. Then we have Niels, that is the president in Europe and the rest of the world. Niels joined Tobii in 2018, and he previously has worked in Microsoft as partner of sales and as in other tech companies like Apple, Nokia, and Electrolux. Okay, regarding the founders, in the history I've mentioned that Tobii was founded by three Swedish entrepreneurs, but now Henrik Eskilsson is the one that is involved, is still in the management of the company somehow, because he's a board member. He holds 4.5% of the company. And well, talking about shareholders, we can see here that mainly all shareholders are institutions like us, like Valentum, and there are no hedge funds in the shareholder base. Here you can see the list of shareholders. They are mainly Nordic investment institutions. Here is us, Valentum Asset Management, with more or less we have like 1% of the company. As I've mentioned, we are shareholders since December 2021. And regarding the insider ownership, the person that has more shares is one of the founders, Henrik, with 4.5%, as we have mentioned. And we see here that Fredrik and Linda have a small percentage of the shares, but this is a weakness for us, because we like a management to be more aligned with investors like us. But we have monitored that the management team, Fredrik, mostly has been buying shares always after the publication of results. So you can see here the purchases that Fredrik has done since February till the last purchase in February this year, 2024. This number is not disclosed because this operation was closed 2 days ago, so it's not published. So although they have a low ownership on the shares, we know that they are more and more aligned, and we always monitor this kind of operations. So our conclusion on the investment thesis, and we repeat, this is not an investment recommendation, is a high growth company in a niche market inside the medtech industry. It's a market with an extremely low penetration. You need to remember those numbers of 50 million people with a speech impairment. Of those, 2 million that are diagnosed, and of those 2 million diagnosed, only 2% are going to be able to have an assistive technology device. They are the market leader. They have a high share of market in eye tracking, more than 70%, and they have margins with ample room to grow. Remember, 68% gross margin, 15% baseline EBIT margin target. So there is a lot of operational leverage to take into account. The weaknesses of the thesis is the low insider ownership. As we have seen, the founder has 4.5%, but the management team, Fredrik, Linda, Niels, and Tara, have a very low ownership, although they are increasingly time by time. There is a risk of operational execution because when a company grows at this level, it's easier that expenses are out of control, although we think that they have a very clear path. And the valuation may seem demanding if we look just at the short term, but we have to see beyond as long-term shareholders. So this comes to an end. Has been our thesis in Tobii Dynavox. Again, this is not a recommendation. We just want to provide insights to our clients, and we hope you like the explanations. And of course, you can always contact us for any doubts. So we leave it like that. Thank you so much.